There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. Here I am with the Friday Reads, filmed on Thursday night, infused with wine. Not too much yet, but it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow, and so I won't be able to film outside, and I've got enough energy to film it tonight, which means my Friday will be that much more relaxing. So here we go. I have one more thing to say about this. I did a ranty review, enlightening you all on why I hated this book passionately. And then my buddy reader, Greg, of Supposedly Fun, he did his own ranty review a couple days ago. And when I was watching his, I was reminded that there was one major point that I forgot to make in my video. It didn't occur to me. You know, I need to start writing things down. I'm getting to that age, people. I need to make notes. I'm just going to add it here. One of the more substantive criticisms I have of this novel was the puke-worthy chapter about Gore Vidal. So Gore Vidal meets the young, hot, conniving Maurice Swift in the prelude following chapter 1. And Gore Vidal sees right through this kid. He knows that he's a poser and a manipulator and a user, and he confronts him directly about it. And I, as the reader, had already concluded that Maurice was not fully developed enough of a character to even be interesting to me. So I appreciated how, at a glance, Gore Vidal in this novel saw through him. But then what infuriated me was that John Boyne, I called it a prelude a minute ago. It's an interlude between chapter 1 and chapter 2. The way that John Boyne complicated Gore Vidal's reaction to Maurice. Because as he was confronting him and telling him exactly what he thought of him, and how much of a fake and how much of a poseur he was, and how he wasn't fooled one bit by all of Maurice's manipulations, sexual and otherwise. We are also made to enter into Gore Vidal's subjective response, in which he is actually frightened of him and intimidated by him, at the same time that he is very accurately telling him off and exposing him. And that made me hate this book on maybe the deepest level, because there was nothing to be intimidated by, there was nothing to be frightened of, and Gore Vidal diagnosed this freak, who was only 25% developed as a character in a novel. So why was he at this concomitantly freaked out by him? As a reader, as a discerning reader, I thought the whole thing about Maurice and how he got away with what he got away with was a freaking joke! Why make Gore Vidal, the most discerning, insightful character in the whole freaking book, see right through the phony protagonist, scared of him? Because there was nothing, there was no there. There was nothing there to be freaked out about. That drove me crazy. So I didn't mention that in my review, and now I have. All right, I've had a really weird reading week in that there's been stuff going on, almost all of it positive, where I haven't done a lot of reading. So it will be a fairly short Friday Reads because I haven't finished anything. I haven't bailed on anything. So there you go. So let's go directly to what I have started. And as I've started 4 new books, and they are all starting out pretty good or really good. And in fact, for all of these, I've only got a bare start, so I don't have a whole bunch to say about any of them. This arrived in the mail last weekend, and I was kind of hoping that it might, so that I might sneak it in for German Lit Month, which is the readathon happening across social media this month, which is new to me. And in fact, I ordered it with that in mind. It was a book that Mel of Mel's Bookland Adventure raved about on her channel, and I had always kept it on my TBR and in the back of my mind. And so I thought, okay, it's a short little book. I'm going to order it. If it comes in time, I'm going to start it. It is Irmgard Coin's The Artificial Silk Girl. And this is a Weimar German novel, published in the 1920s, I think. 1932. And it's a short novella. I have only read about maybe 20 pages. And I fell in love on page 1. Translated from the German by Kathy von Ankum. So I've been raving to Mel and other people on Voxer about how much I loved it from page 1 or page 2. It's so funny. It reads so much more modern than you would think for a 1932 novel. It's hilarious. So the protagonist is Doris. Does that name ring any bells? And she is a piece of work. She is sexy and maybe a little manipulative and confused and sly and just pee your pants funny. So I'm just enjoying it so much. I will have a lot more to say about this when I finish it. And I don't know what other dimensions or nuances there will be to the story as I progress past page 20, but I just adore it already. I also started the new novel by Rowan Hiseo Buchanan, Starling Days, and I haven't read much of it either. 2 chapters maybe, and it's really good too. The writing so far, it is starting out really powerfully about a newlywed couple, and the woman, the protagonist, is the young wife, and she is having mental health challenges. It's really compelling. I loved Rowan Hiseo Buchanan's debut, Harmless Like You, and this one is conveying a lot of the same power. And as a buddy read with Heidi of My Reading Life, because of all the things that have been going on in my life, I didn't get a chance to start this buddy read until today. Today is Thursday. We were supposed to start this buddy read on Monday. Stay tuned for a video, probably, I expect it's coming this weekend, that will explain some of the commotion that has turned my week upside down in such a good way. So I didn't start this collection of short stories until today, and the collection is called This Taste for Silence by Amanda O'Callaghan, and she is an Australian writer, and Heidi and I heard about this collection on Jacqueline of 6 Minutes for Me's channel just a few weeks ago, and found it on Scribd and decided to buddy read it. And I read the first 2 or 3 pages of the first story before my week got all crazy, and I couldn't, I had so much on my mind, I couldn't really sink into it or get into it, and I'm not sure. And then today, I had, kind of a peaceful day, and I'm on the other side of everything, and I just fell in love. That first story is so powerful. It's one of the best stories I've read this year. So, I'm going to have a lot more to say about it, too, but it's a story about a middle-aged widow. She's not that old. She might be 60, and she's very tentatively starting a new relationship 4 years after her husband dies with an antique dealer. And there is a moment where I'm not giving away anything at all, but where there's a flashback to the beginning when she first met this man that she's now dating at his antique shop, and she breaks down and sobs uncontrollably. It took my breath away and almost made me start to sob uncontrollably. It was so powerful because I wasn't expecting it, and the way that O'Callaghan built up to that moment. And then what comes after? Holy smokes, it's such a... Oh boy, I'm getting all excited. This is a positive rant for a change, people. As I said to Heidi, I checked in with Heidi after I finished the story before lunch today, and I just said, I can't believe it's such a simple structure, such a simply told story, but boy, does it pack a wallop. So, love the first story. I think it's called The Snow Widow. Let's double check that. So if you have Scribd, check it out, or check it out anyway. And I'm only vouching for the first story, but the first story was amazing. A Widow's Snow is the name of the story. While I was just starting to film this video, a Voxer message came in from Heidi with her comments on the first story. So let's just listen to the first few moments. You'll only be hearing this if I have asked and gotten Heidi's permission to just play the first snippet. Let's see if she liked it.
Oh, I'm so delighted you liked it too, because I loved it.
That's enough, hey? She loved it too! So, starting out pretty positively. Woo-hoo-hoo. And then just maybe 30 minutes ago, I started the next Faber story, Anna Burns' 125-page short story, Mostly Hero. I mean, in a normal-sized book, it would be maybe 70 pages or something. And I just read the first 10 pages because, it's getting late. It's been a busy week, and I couldn't focus on any more than that, but I did want to at least start it so I could tell you that I started it, because I said last week that I was gonna start it, and I did. It was originally published in ebook format only in 2014, so 5 years ago. 4 years ago. In some ways, it's reminding me of Milkman. It doesn't, I'm not going to say much more, it doesn't quite have the melodiousness of those extravagant page-and-a-half sentences yet, but it's definitely holding my interest. So those are what I've started. So what am I going to start in the coming week? 2. I will finish up the Princess Mary Adelaide biography, which has been a buddy read with Leah from Calgary, and then we will immediately jump into 4, Gone with the Book. Is this the final month? I believe it is. This novel, Begin Again by Ursula Orange. I did a really substantive, in-depth preview of this novel. I will link it below in a try a chapter tag, page 112 mashup kind of experiment, and decided that I definitely wanted to try it. It's going to be really interesting to see, and after doing all that previewing, whether I will actually enjoy it. Fingers crossed. I certainly had a good feeling about it from that experiment. And this is by the Furled Biddlebrow imprint of Dean Street Press, originally published in 1936. So here's hoping. And also as my debut buddy read with Juan of Bookish Islander. This coming week we will start Deborah Levy's new novel, The Man Who Saw Everything. Long listed for the Booker, not shortlisted, which means it's probably an amazing novel. And I'm looking forward to diving in. I don't think I've heard anything bad about this. So that is what I have got for you. What have you got for me? Thanks for watching.